Hi, everyone. Okay, I think I did it right. It said that I'm live. So if someone can put in the chat if they can hear me, that would be awesome. I'm so excited to be here with everybody. This has been a super busy week, but a really good one. And the Syrians came to me last week and they were sharing that we are at this space of a really big change. Mars is going direct tomorrow, and Mars has been retrograde since October 30th. So think about that. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all those holidays, we've been in Mars retrograde. So before I keep going, if someone could just let me know if you can hear me. I'm just still getting used to this. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Can someone write in the chat? I just want to make sure because I'm still getting used to this software. And it says that I'm live, but just want to make sure. If you're here, Leah, let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep going. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi. Okay, good. Okay. I think there's something with StreamYard where like the comments are okay, cool. Yeah, I think it takes a minute. Let's start over. All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Meagan Mermaid, and I'm so excited to be here on this 111 portal. And ones are all about new beginnings, but it kind of doesn't feel like it, right? Because we are in this Mars retrograde, which thank God ends tomorrow. And then we still are in Mercury retrograde until the 18th. And then after that, we have this new moon on the 21st, and then Uranus goes direct, and all of these changes are going to happen. But right now, we're still in it. So the Syrians wanted to step in today, and yeah, there is a delay. That's okay. And so the Syrians wanted to step in and just guide us in integrating everything that we've learned in Mars retrograde because it was a lot. And this was definitely not like I call this Mars retrograde like a horse of a different color because with Mars being in Gemini, it felt like we still had all of the aspects of Mars retrograde, like being tired and not wanting to do things. But with Gemini, it was like go, go, go. And we've still been having to accomplish all of these things. There's not any less stuff on our plate. But the way that we've had to do it, it's just been challenging. But the purpose of Mars retrograde is to allow us to step into a space of revisiting everything Mars related. And so, what does Mars represent? It represents our willpower, it represents our desire, it represents how we work, how we do things. And so, today, the Syrians are going to support us in developing a whole new way of work. So, if you're new to the energy of the Syrians, they're a star nation that is all about leadership and excellence. And in my curriculum, Galactic Leadership Training, I have a masterclass with the Syrians where they teach all about how to have fun with excellence. And so that's another thing that they want to teach us today is how to work with excellence in a fun way. But how do we do this? So they've given us 3 words that we need to focus on. The first is courage. The second is compassion. And the third is humility. So before we get into the channeled portion, I wanted to just kind of talk about this 111 portal and talk a little bit also about this journey that I'm doing on the 23rd. So you should be able to see it in the link in my bio. I'm doing an activation, a Starseed journey called Activating the Flow of Community. And that's sort of the message that I was getting for 2023 is that this is a year where we're finding each other. We're finding our soul groups. We're finding our soul family. And we're learning how to work together to co-create. I was shown, if you're familiar with it, I think it's, do you say fungi or fungi? Like, I don't know how to say it, but like there's something called mycelium, which is like the communication system of the fungi. I'm just going to say fungi. I'm sorry if it's wrong. And it goes underneath the trees, and that's how the trees communicate. And so it's like this whole intelligent design. And it's sort of the same way with our soul family and with our soul group, where there's a light grid across the planet. And oh, you saw a documentary about that, Sarah. I love that. Yeah, it's so cool. And it like sparked this whole thing about, just like trees have like the carbon dioxide and they turn it into oxygen. We have this same type of transmutation medicine, but we use it for the light grid. And so the light grid is pretty much what the dark agendas center on and they focus on. So it's mostly through electricity. It can sometimes be through 5G and other avenues. But so all of this like toxic energy is infiltrated through the grid. And us as star seeds with our galactic soul signatures, we step in and we alchemize that grid. And it's almost like we're turning that carbon dioxide, like the trees do, into oxygen. So why is this important with the whole network underneath the trees and the mycelium? How does this relate to the light grid? So, as we're doing this work as star seeds, it's almost like the Care Bear stare. Have you ever seen where it's like all the Care Bears are like standing in a row and like their light is like pouring out of their belly? Fun guy. Okay. All right. I'm never going to get that wrong again. Fun guy. It's a challenging word, right? You don't use it very often. But anyway, so back to this Care Bear stare thing. That's sort of what we're doing. We're all like bringing our energy into the grid and it creates this magnetism. And this is what we're doing this year is we're finding our tribe. We're finding the people that are harmoniously doing things that are going to support us. But in order to do that, we've got to first figure out what we need to heal, what we need to clear, because a lot of times when we're working with other people, I'll just give you an example that I did a ceremony a few days ago, and one of my big takeaways from this ceremony was humility. And I was just like, whoa, like I got a big dose of humility. And what I mean by that is that the more that we know, the further that we are on this path, it doesn't make us better than anybody. It just makes us more responsible, right? It makes us more responsible. And we have to look at all of the ways that we fool ourselves. And it's very easy, right? Like we could be like, oh, we're doing so good. And then our ego can be like stepping us into this space of feeling like we're superior. And then there's this other aspect of our shadow and figuring out how to integrate our shadow, because that's another aspect that the dark agendas can use against us. Because if we're not integrating and accepting our shadow, it's kind of like hanging out here, right? And it can mess us up. But hi, Devs, good to see you. I'm so glad to see everybody here. But when we integrate that shadow, I call it like accepting your monster. When you accept your monster and you love your monster, then you can love other people's monsters. And then you can love the world's monster. And then that's how we get into the tipping point of ascension, which is literally 51%, both individually and as a collective. 51%. That means that like if you're just 1% more good or more light than dark, you're good, you're golden. And that's the space that we're going into. But it does require this humility, courage, and compassion. We've got to get off our soapbox and stop thinking that we have the answers for everybody, and instead just lean back and fucking love people, love ourselves. Like stop trying to fix things, And I think it was Alan Watts that shared like the road to hell is paved in good intentions. And it's true because, we might think that, sorry, I have this hair. Mercury retrograde is so fun. But like, we might think that, we know how to help this person. Maybe it's a family member or a partner or a coworker. And they're like, if they just did this thing, if they just read this book that I read or did these activations that I did or talked to their star family, they'd be okay. Why don't they see it my way? Oh, thanks for sharing, Kathy. Well, we have to understand that we are all a part of God consciousness, right? And God consciousness is everything. So God is within us, God is outside of us. But everybody is a fractal. And so if you're a fractal of a whole, you have all of the qualities, but the way that you express it is differently. And so what this boils down to is that the way that you perceive the world is completely different than the way that other people perceive it. So for us to think that we have the answers to anyone else it's nonsense. It's really nonsense. And so when we when we dive deeper into our spiritual path and we step into spiritual maturity, we understand that we're not here as better than anybody. We're here as way showers. And way showers means, hey, I stepped a couple feet ahead of you on this path and I learned this. This is how I did it. Not that, hey, I know everything and you must follow me and listen to me because I'm the king of everything or the queen or whatever. No, it's not like that. We're in this space of sovereignty now. And we're teaching each other based on our own experiences. So, a quality, a virtue of spiritual maturity is non non-interference, and just recognizing that like we can be the observer, we can support people if they ask for it, but we're not supposed to be just like giving everybody all this stuff and acting like we have all the answers. Yay, Sarah's clapping, Kathy's got beautiful hearts, Deb sharing, some are hard to love because they try to always bring other vibrant souls down, so when this happens I remember to ask angels to protect my surroundings and it works. I feel happy soon after. I love that. Yeah. And it's definitely not easy. And that's another thing that we have to remember this year is like our self-care is like not an option. Like it's literally our fucking survival system. Okay. And the reason for that is because in addition to practicing this non-interference, working on our shadow, getting off our soapbox, stepping into a space of humility, we also have to be taking care of ourselves so that we don't get wrapped up in everybody else's projections. And we will. We're going to do it 1,000 billion times, but every time we can say, oh, okay, this is what happens when I do that. Do I want more of that? Maybe not. So now we're here on this 111 portal day. It's all about new beginnings. And the Syrians just want to guide us in integrating the lessons that we've learned in Mars retrograde. The Mermaids of Sirius want to guide us in receiving the pearls of those lessons and kind of setting the space up. We're not really ready for this fresh energy yet, but we're getting there. And so today, the Syrians are going to support us in honoring and healing our shadow so that we can then call in our soul family. We've got to focus on us for the next couple of weeks. And once this new moon hits, once Uranus goes direct, a lot of things are going to happen and quickly. So the more that we're focusing on our self-care, the more that we're doing the work, the easier it's going to be. So at the end of this activation today, I'm going to be offering a giveaway for that ceremony that I'm doing on January 23rd. So if you want to be a part of it, you just have to be live for the, sorry, I'm so annoyed with this hair. It's challenging being a Leo. You're so self-focused. Anyway, hi, B, good to see you. Anyway, where was I when I was having this hair crisis? Okay, so if you're here for the entire journey, then at the end, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for my ceremony that's happening on January 23rd. And this is going to be called Activating the Flow of Community. You can also purchase it with the link in my bio. And we're going to be working on calling in our soul family and learning how to connect to the lines of co-creation. Just like the mycelium communicates to all of the trees, we have this line of communication between us and all of our star family. And what's really beautiful is that because we're all fractals of God consciousness, we all hold a key, right? Everybody's key is different. That's why everybody's is just as valuable. But when we tap into this line of connectivity and we start supporting each other, the way that leadership has been done in the past is this friggin' hair is that one person was like at the top and like everybody else was down here just having to listen to whoever. I think it's Richard Rudd in the Gene Keys says that often leaders are the ones that have the best story and the best mastery of language. So oftentimes people that had a good story could really influence people. And we're still seeing that, right? There's a lot of good stories that are keeping people wrapped up in fear. But the thing is, when we start to help each other and we create this stage where we're all shining, we're all doing our gifts, we're all figuring out how we can co-create, then what happens is that like you have an answer, you have an intention, you have a prayer, prayer. Somebody else has an intention. They have a prayer. We become matches to each other. And it's like, oh my God, like I have the resource that you need. You have the resource that I need. That's how we break out of the matrix programming, through community. Debs is sharing my 28th birthday is the 29th. Oh, I love that. Awesome. Or Air 48th birthday. I love that. Well, 48 or 28, I'm sure really like our souls are like billions of years old. So what's 20 years? Anyway, so does anyone want to share anything more about anything, the Syrians, about community, about the 111 portal before we step into the channeled space? I'm so happy to see all of you guys here live. I don't know about you, but I've just been like super exhausted, and I'm grateful for Mars to go direct. But I'm also grateful that we had this time to reflect. So when we think about Mars in Gemini, Gemini is the mind, right? And it's how we communicate. And so when we think about Mars being in Gemini, then how do we communicate about our work? How do we talk about our work? How do we talk about ourselves in our career? And how do we want to redefine the conversation when it comes to work? You know, I feel like what we're moving out of as we move out of matrix programming into new earth consciousness is no longer having to trade our time for money. Because think about it, like if you're working like this 9 to 5 and like you're sitting in an office and you're just miserable. It's like you're trading your time to be in this miserable space. You can't get that time back. And then you get this little paycheck and you have to pay all of these bills. And it's almost like it's paying with like your blood, sweat, and tears. But if you're doing something that you love, if you're in alignment with your mission and your purpose, then all of a sudden it's not a job that you have to do anymore. It's your livelihood. It's your passion. It lights you up. That's what raises the vibration. So what we're doing is we're all helping each other. We're all supporting each other. There's no competition. There's no need for competition anymore. It's co-creation. So how do we move out of competition into co-creation? It starts with loving our shadow, loving that monster within. Because again, you know, if we have this unintegrated shadow aspect within us, that's when all of that stuff is going to come through, because we're still in this space of separation, right? If we think that, I often use the analogy of being a wave in the ocean of consciousness. So all of the life force, God, source, whatever you want to call it, we can consider it like an ocean, right? This beautiful ocean of consciousness. And you are a wave in the ocean of consciousness. So the wave has a form, but inside of that form, everything that's in the ocean is in the wave. It's exactly the same. The only separation is all of these squiggly particles that look like a body, right? And if you're to think that that you as a wave are separate from that ocean, that's pretty terrifying, right? A giant ocean and you as a little tiny wave. That's what happens when we step into the energy of competition and jealousy and lack. It's because we feel like we're that little wave, like we're separated. But when we step back into understanding that we're simply a form holding God consciousness, expressing itself in its own unique way, how could there ever be competition? Like it literally does not exist anymore, because nobody else has your galactic soul signature. Nobody else has your unique view of the world, your unique gifts. Nobody else can fill your shoes. Nobody else can fulfill your mission. But we can all help each other. And so doesn't that sound way better? So, all right, we're going to go into the channeled space now. So if you're new to my activations and journeys, we do a practice that's called bilocation. So our third dimensional form is going to be very safe here in the third dimension, and our etheric bodies rather are going to step into a higher frequency space where we're going to connect with the Syrians today. So you can close your eyes, you can lie down, you can be seated. If you're driving, don't close your eyes, please. Don't operate heavy machinery. You can always come back to this. There will be a replay. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and close our eyes and step into this channeled portion. Yeah, Kathy's sharing, awesome. Debs is sharing, helping each other is so important. Beautiful. I love that. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here and loving my humanness. That was like just way too obsessed with my hair. I was like, I can't go on until this piece of hair is like not there. Okay. All right. Let's love our monsters. You guys ready? Go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep inhale in. Exhaling it out. Just imagining that your breath is like the ocean tide, rushing in and out. And as you continue to imagine this beautiful ocean breath, we consecrate this space for only the highest vibrations of love, truth, healing, and peace. And we now choose to align with the highest frequency of love, the highest good of all, and the highest timeline for all. As we do, you may begin to visualize this beautiful white light directly from source consciousness, and it begins to descend like a dove of peace, flowing like a waterfall down through your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat chakra, your heart chakra, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, your root chakra, all the way down to your feet. And this white light begins to pour out of your crown chakra, creating a bubble of white light around you. And this bubble of white light begins to shift and change into pinks and purples and blues and greens. And we're now being surrounded by the rainbow light energy of Sirius. And so we now call in my High Council, the High Council of Syrian Elders, as well as the Mermaids of Sirius and the Big Cat Council of Sirius. We welcome in Saint Germain and Lady Portia to our left, and Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus to our right. We call in the Galactic Federation of Light, including Commander Ashtar and all of the representatives of all of the different star nations. And we call in Adama and the High Council of Telos and our Telosian brothers and sisters. And we also invite in the energy of Hilarion and Paul the Venetian. And so now my etheric body is going to be stepping out of my body into the room with you. And the etheric body looks very much like the regular form, the human form, except it's completely transparent and translucent. And so what's really beautiful about quantum reality is that we can be in multiple places all at once. So I can simultaneously step into the room with all of you, both live and on the replay, and take your hand and gently pull your etheric body out of your body. And so a stargate begins to appear above our head, 6 feet in diameter, whirling and whizzing in lapis blue and golden light. And we are taken up, 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 across dimensional frequencies and realities, up, 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 across stars, planets, and galaxies, up, 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 and the elevator doors open. And we step out into this very interesting looking classroom. And so we are in Sirius B. And so there are windows outside of this classroom. It looks like it's on a starcraft. So you might see all of the stars outside. You might see comets going by or other starcraft. And inside this classroom, there's all sorts of chairs. And there's a very large board up at the front. So you're being asked to have a seat at one of these chairs, and we're all sort of shuffling in. And before we move forward today, I just want to go over what my role is here today. So I serve as a galactic guide and a channel for galactic consciousness, which means that I'm here to deliver any messages, information, visions, symbols, whatever the Syrians would like for us to know today. We practice energetic sovereignty in this space, which means that at no time do these beings enter my body or yours. We all have very clear, very safe energetic boundaries. We also practice discernment. So if there's any information that does not feel resonant with your spirit, know that it is safe to disagree or not accept this information. And if there is an activation or empowerment that is offered to you and you don't feel ready for it, there's a replay. You can always return back to this. You are the expert on you, and you are a sovereign being that gets to decide what's right for you. So I'm seeing that 4 beautiful Syrian guides are stepping towards us, and they're these beautiful blue beings that have sort of an elongated head, but very regal, these very dark, almost like crystal blue eyes, and they're wearing these gorgeous blue, like form-fitting suits. And I see that they're also wearing this very long choker. This is how I've been seeing the Syrians recently, just in this very beautiful, regal blue energy. They're very feminine today. So the Syrians are going to be speaking in one collective, unified voice today. And the first thing that they want to say is that they're so grateful that you're here. And they're grateful that you have been doing the work. They want you to know that it might have felt like there's been a really, really heavy burden on your shoulders over the past few months. It may have felt like you're falling short in some areas. You may have been forgetful. You may have thought, oh my gosh, like I thought I was over this thing. I thought I was over that pattern, and it's coming back. And they want you to know that it's okay. It's all okay. That whatever initiations, whatever experiences you had to go through, you passed. You did it. And so now they want you to know that as we step into the energy of 2023, as we integrate what we learned in this Mars retrograde, that we can decide from this point forward a new way of working, a way of work that feels good, a way of work that feels invigorating, a way of taking action that is unique to you. But before we do that, they want you to take a moment today to first just sit and reflect. Where were you on October 30th or around that time? What was going on in your life? What happened throughout the course of these months? Notice any patterns. Perhaps there are specific memories that are arising of pivotal moments during this time. Maybe you had conflicts. Maybe you got really clear about your career path, or maybe things were highlighted in regards to work or taking action, or even desire, intimacy, or any masculine quality in itself, really. What did you learn from this time? And where are you ready to move forward in a new way? So the first thing that they want you to do is to place your hands over your heart and to have gratitude for yourself, to have gratitude for how far you have come, to have gratitude for every mistake, every time that you forgot something, every time that maybe you got triggered and you said something that you didn't want to say. And they want you to now sit and begin to imagine, where have you been feeling superiority in any way? And it can be really subtle. And what's underneath superiority is fear. So perhaps there were moments where you thought you really knew what was right for someone else, or, you just, you got into your ego. It's okay. It's a part of the human experience. Whatever is arising, sit with it, witness it, acknowledge it. And so now they want you to visualize if there was any particular person, or maybe even several people in the last few months, who have projected onto you. Perhaps you experienced difficult conversations or conflict, or, maybe somebody really hurt you. Take a moment to just bring to mind anyone that showed you their monster in the past few months. And so as you hold both of these aspects, both yourself and this other being or beings, we're going to now step into the energy of courage and compassion. Compassion takes courage. And the reason for that is because it's easy to blame. It's easy to point the finger. It's easy to say, this person has done this, or this person shouldn't do this, or if I was this person, I would do it this way. It's very easy to do that. And it doesn't make us wrong. It makes us human. And it takes a lot of courage to have compassion, both for ourselves and others, and to recognize that the reason why we act out, The reason why we want to fix people or we want to project onto them is because we want to be loved. And for whatever reason, we've believed that we have to have the answers, or we have to fix people, or we have to always be available, or we have to let people walk all over us, whatever it is, or we have to hide parts of ourselves in order to be loved. There's all sorts of weird that needs to be unraveled. And so the Syrians are creating this space today where we can simply reflect and we can let go of whatever we have done to this point in this retrograde and release it. And so you may begin to see that there are little like black particles outside of you. And these little black particles are shadow aspects, and they're unintegrated shadow aspects. So I want you to just breathe. Just inhale and exhale, very much like we did with this ocean breath at the beginning of this activation. And just allow these particles to come back and integrate into your body. You can even say, thank you. I love you. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. I forgive you. So the way that the matrix is set up is for us to stay in a constant state of guilt and shame because we're easier to control that way. So as the earth is a school, we are going to make mistakes. We are going to get it wrong. We are going to fall short. There was a statistic that said it takes about 8.6 million lifetimes, something like that. I may not have the exact number right, for a being to come into a space of self-realization. So that means that you've got to make a lot of mistakes in all of those millions of lifetimes. And what happens, though, is that rather than looking at the experience, getting curious about it, taking the data from it, and moving forward in a more empowered way, all this guilt and shame gets projected onto us. And then that lower vibration state becomes a way that the darker energies can sort of siphon our energy. So when we take back our shadow aspects, when we honor that there is no monster outside of us, we are the monster, we are the light, we are the dark, we are everything, we are all of it. We've got to honor all of it. We've got to accept all of it. That's the only way to protect ourselves and to protect each other, is to recognize that it's all us. It's all God. And that in this matrix programming, we're moving out of that together through this acceptance. When we integrate our shadow aspects, we take that guilt and shame, and instead we alchemize it into pure power of infinite potentiality. So today, the mermaids of Sirius are stepping into this classroom, and space is kind of like water, so they can sort of float around. And the three members of the mermaids of Sirius, the first three, are here to give us gifts today. So we have Zoe, who is the mermaid of the root chakra, and she has this beautiful chocolate brown hair and this red tail and this matching red top. We have Arista, who is the mermaid of the sacral chakra, and she has this beautiful blonde hair and this mango orange tail and top. And then we have Jade, who is the mermaid of the solar plexus, and she has this really beautiful almost like a light yellow hair and this really beautiful golden yellow tail and top. And so they're going to be gifting us with these pearls today to integrate the lessons of Mars retrograde for the first three chakras. So let's talk about each of these one by one. What is the root chakra? The root chakra is connected to the feeling of safety and stability. And so oftentimes we get stuck in dynamics of work or even relationships where we feel that we need to stay in order to create safety, right? We've got to pay the bills. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. So we stay thinking that this position or this, whatever it is, experience will keep us safe. But what we're learning and what we can take away from this Mars retrograde is that true safety comes from learning to follow and trust your heart. It's learning to recognize that the universe has got your back, and that as long as you're always in a state of giving and receiving, you'll be okay. And so today, Zoe is gifting us with the pearl of prosperity, I'm hearing. A deep prosperity that comes from really tuning into and connecting to the energy of the earth. And so just breathe and allow yourself to receive this pearl of prosperity, to understand that all of your needs are always divinely supplied and that it's safe to follow your passions. It's safe to do work that excites you and invigorates you. And it doesn't mean that you have to go quit your job tomorrow. That wouldn't be wise. But it does mean that as you start working with your star family and your spirit guides and your higher self this year, that you will be directed to action steps that will support you in creating a career and in creating work that excites you, that is a part of your mission. And in the meantime, this pearl of prosperity can guide you and protect you when you do have to step into those spaces that don't feel aligned anymore. And so now Arista is stepping forward with the pearl of pleasure. And so pleasure is a beautiful gift of the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is very deeply connected to our sexual energy, and so is the energy of Mars. It's very deeply connected to our intimacy. And so the mermaids teach about sovereign sensuality, which means that our pleasure is for us first. And then as we offer this pleasure and this joy and this sensuality to ourselves, and we honor the sacred vessel of God consciousness, which we are, it can pour out and bless and give pleasure to those that we choose to. And that's very different than the programming of the matrix and the programming that we've grown up with in our society, especially as women, where our pleasure is for someone else's gaze or someone else's purpose. And so what Arista is supporting us in is the ability to step into a space of sovereign sensuality and to unravel all of the ways that we have put our pleasure last, that we put love or self-care on the end of our to-do list and somehow don't get to it or don't feel worthy of it. She's going to support us this year in recognizing the pure potentiality that comes from pleasure, which leads us into the highest vibration of love and joy. And so finally, Jade is stepping forward with the pearl of power. And so when we integrate our shadow and when we understand and we have compassion for ourselves and all beings and recognize that we're all doing the very best that we can, and that it's not about competition, but it's about love and it's about co-creation, then we can truly step into our personal power and recognize that it's safe to shine brightly. And the more that we start to shine, the more that we give permission for other people to shine. So Jade is going to be supporting you and unraveling any weirdness, any old stuck limiting beliefs around stepping into your personal power, which is also deeply related to the energy of Mars. And so all of these three mermaids are just sharing with us today that it's important to be kind to ourselves. And it's important to recognize that we are always doing the best that we can. And even if we wished that we had acted differently or we wished that we hadn't said things in the past, we can learn from them and we can move on. And so now the Syrians are asking that you visualize what you want to do. Now that Mars is direct, now that we are stepping into a space very soon where all of the planets will be direct and the forward momentum is going to be open to us again, what is it that you want to create? What would it look like to be in your personal power? What would it feel like to experience pleasure every single day? What would it take for you to accept the prosperity and the abundance of the universe? Take a moment to visualize how you want to feel and what you want to accomplish in 2023. And so now the Syrians are just asking that we take some final moments today to just visualize the highest timeline. And they are supporting us always to continue these lessons of courage, humility, and compassion. And so all of these beautiful thoughts become this little tiny pink bubble in front of you. And so this pink bubble begins to split and split. And it goes into your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, and your root chakra. And so just take a few more deep breaths in as you now integrate these pearls, as well as choose to step into the highest timeline of what you would like to create, this or something better. And so we say goodbye to the beautiful Syrians and the mermaids of Sirius, and the stargate begins to appear above our head. And we are taken up, up, up across dimensional frequencies and realities, up, up, up across stars, planets, and galaxies, up, up, up. And the elevator doors open, and we step back into the room that we're seated in. And so your etheric body steps back into your body, and my etheric body steps back into mine. And the sacred space is now closed. So just take a moment to wiggle your fingers and your toes and come back to this reality. And for those of you that are still here that would like to be a part of the giveaway, just feel free to write your name in the chat. And we're going to be choosing one person to receive access to my ceremony on January 23rd for activating the flow of community. Aw, you're so welcome, Debs. Thank you for being here. Let me just take a moment and see. Let's see. All right. I'll give you guys a moment because I know for some reason the comments are delayed. So let's see. Okay, so we have Gigi here. Would anyone else like to participate? We have, is it Maja or Maha? I'm not sure. Nana, let's see. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Oh, yay, Gigi loved it so much. Okay, let me see. It was emotional. Wow, Kathy, I'm so grateful to hear. Sometimes it's really good to be emotional. We'll give everybody else just a moment or two to participate again. And let's see. All right. And the winner we have is Nana Was. Congratulations. We're so excited for you. And I'm going to be doing a giveaway monthly. So, oh, hi, very good. So glad to have you on here. Yay. Oh, Julie, you purchased already? Oh, wonderful. And so, Nana, congratulations. And what you can do is email me. If you're on my Instagram, you can message me, or you can message me at officialmeaganmermaid@gmail.com, and I will get you access to that. And for those of you that would like to be a part of that ceremony, it's going to be on January 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific, and that link is in my bio. Oh, Kathy said emotional. Both your dogs came and lied on you. Aw, so sweet. I love that so much. And yeah, so that'll be January 24th. And also I have Galactic Leadership Training, which is my curriculum. And it's with the Syrians, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Andromedans. You learn about how to channel, how to have fun with excellence, how to live in the eternal now, how to step into this new earth consciousness and be very successful as a star seed while also living a very grounded human life. So you can check that out on my website, Galactic Leadership Training. I also offer personal galactic readings, channeled readings, both pre-recorded and one-on-one. So I'm so happy to have you guys all here, and I wish you all the best on this 111 portal. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you.